Hello folks, Jason here again, and welcome back to my Malifaux series of videos. So as I had mentioned in the update that I posted a little while ago, they have released a second edition of Malifaux, they being weird, and there have been significant changes. So I have had a look at the second edition rules at this point. I've got to say I'm pretty impressed. They've streamlined a lot of things and they've fixed a lot of things. It's a lot less complicated, so I definitely like that. It makes it easier for people to get into. In any case, as far as what I'm going to do with the videos, I figured I'd just talk a little bit about some of the changes and go over how I'm going to sort of update my videos to second edition. Alright, so as far as the videos go that I've already released, the first one where I went over the history of Malifaux and everything, that's still perfectly okay. The backstory's still pretty much the same. It has progressed a bit, but I don't think that I really need to release another video or anything to update that. The second video that I put out with important terms and rules and things, plus what you need to get started playing, there have been some changes there. I am going to go over them in a second. It's not significant enough for me to produce a new video for that though, so for the most part that still stands. The other two videos that I released, however, the ones about stack cards and about the Fate decks and how those work, those have changed significantly. So I am going to totally redo those. Feel free to have a look if you want to. They are completely first edition rules though, and while a lot of it's similar, a lot of it is also changing. So just keep that in mind. So as far as the changes go to the second video, the one with the rules and what you need to get started and all that stuff. First of all, the little book, the little rule book that I had noted in that only costs about $15. The new second edition rulebook is actually considerably larger than that. It's pretty much a full-sized rulebook with a bunch of stats and stories and things in it. It now costs around $40. So there is a significant increase there, and unfortunately there is no free version. That said, I'm pretty sure that Weird is probably going to do the same thing they did with the first edition rules and distill it down into a smaller hand-sized book. Hopefully that'll happen soon, but for now you pretty much just have to bite the bullet and buy the big rule book if your friends don't have it. The second change to what you need is now there are things called arsenal decks. So if you already have some miniatures from first edition Malifaux, the stats cards that they came with are no longer valid. You have to get new stats cards. What you can do is you can actually buy these things called arsenal decks. There's one for each faction. And well, that's another change. There are 7 factions, but I'll get into that in a second. Each arsenal deck contains all of the cards for all of the miniatures that have been updated into second edition so far, and they include some of the new upgrade cards, and we'll talk about those more in my stats card video. But basically, if you are just getting into the game, then this doesn't matter to you at all. You can just get a crew box. It comes with the proper cards. If you already have miniatures, though, you are going to have to bite the bullet and buy an arsenal deck, or 2, depending on how many crews you have. Unfortunately, and this is one thing that kind of irks me, they haven't actually converted all of the miniatures over to the new system yet. So actually a significant portion of my Neverborn crew, there are no stats for them in second edition yet, so I'm going to have to wait a while on that. But they are planning on releasing stats, I believe, for all of the miniatures that have been released to date under first edition. So like I said a minute ago there are now 7 factions in total. Basically what they've done is they have actually created essentially two new factions. So there are still the Resurrectionists, the Arcanists, the Neverborn, the Guild. Those were the 4 sort of core factions. There were the Outcasts, which were kind of a miscellaneous faction, which was available. Now there is also the Gremlins faction, so they have their own faction now. And there's also the Ten Thunders faction, which is sort of the Oriental Asian themed faction. So there are a few more options there, and there are a lot more masters and things. So they've definitely expanded their options quite a bit here. Finally, I just wanted to mention a couple of the rules that have changed since I put that out. The most significant one is actually that pre-measuring is now allowed. As I noted in the original video, pre-measuring was frowned on. You couldn't do it in first edition Malifaux. You could only measure something when you'd already declared an action. They have done away with that. That's something I'm kind of thankful for, because that always kind of gives an advantage to the person who can actually uh, measure distances in their head, which I have never been able to do. So um, that's something you can do now. In addition, the effects rules have been vastly simplified, and the effects themselves have been simplified. So all of the stuff at the end of the video, and I've already put up an annotation to note where you can kind of skip it. All of that stuff at the end pretty much doesn't matter anymore. Um, there may be a few timing issues that I might go over in some of these videos, but for the most part, you don't need to worry about that too much. As you'll see with the new stats cards, everything's been pretty streamlined as far as actions goes. So that's all I have to say about changes to the previous videos. So I'm going to put up annotations, like I said, to note where things kind of have diverged a bit. But in the meantime, I think I'll just talk about where we're going to go from here. So the next two videos I'm going to do are going to be videos to replace the stats card video that I did and the Fate deck video that I did. So I'm just going to completely redo those. Once I have the new ones done, then I'm going to upload them, and I'm going to remove the other two from the playlist so that nobody gets confused or anything. After that, I have kind of just going through the second edition rules, how they're organized, I have kind of decided to change up how I'm going to organize the rest of the videos. For one thing, there's probably going to be more of them because I think each one is only going to look at, a very specific subject. And again, that's to make it easier for people to skip through things they kind of already understand or to find things that they kind of need a bit of clarification on. What I think I'm going to do after I've gotten the stats cards video and the Fate deck video done is I'm pretty much just going to go through how to set up an encounter and everything involved in that, and just go everything step by step as it comes up. Um, I think that's probably the best way to teach this, and probably the best way for you guys to learn the rules if you're unfamiliar with them. So that's pretty much how I'm going to do it. We'll see how that works out, and I may make adjustments. But I just want to get the stats cards and the Fate deck done first because those are so central that it's kind of important that you understand how that works before you move on to anything else. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have to say for now. So I am kind of hoping to start producing some actual rules videos very soon. Right now, I'm kind of into the final exams period for university, so I'm kind of taken up by that right now. But hopefully, over the Christmas season, I'll be able to push a few of these out and get back on track for releasing the whole series. Anyway, thank you for your interest in these videos. Feel free to fire me any comments, or suggestions that you have about these videos. I'm always looking for constructive criticism. And in the meantime, have great games.